How can you clear an overdrawn director's loan account? Well, there are a number of things that you can do that don't involve necessarily repaying the full amount of the overdrawn director's loan account back to the company. So one thing that you could do, and you can do a combination of these different options, is to declare a dividend to the extent that you have distributable reserves available, and that will act as a credit balance on your director's loan account and will offset against the overdrawn position. Obviously, there'll be no cash changing hands, but it will reduce and potentially eliminate the extent of the overdrawn position. Another thing you could do is you could vote a bonus. Same idea in principle to that of a dividend, in the sense there would be no cash necessarily changing hands, but for the fact it would be a credit on the director's loan account which could offset against the overdrawn position. Another thing that you could do is actually simply to write it off. Now, you can only really do that if the company is solvent. If the company is insolvent, it would be deemed to be a transaction at undervalue, and then a liquidator can potentially set it aside. So, as far as writing it off is concerned, if the company is solvent, you can formally write it off, and the effect of that will mean that in the tax year in which it's written off on your personal tax return, it will have to be declared, and it will be treated typically as a dividend, and it will be subject to income tax. But it will reduce or eliminate, depending on the extent to which it's written off, the overdrawn position. And you can do this in liquidation or out of liquidation. If you're going to do it in insolvent liquidation in particular, then it's going to have to be by way of agreement with the liquidator. If the company's solvent, on the other hand, then the liquidator will distribute it in specie to you, and again it will go on your personal tax return as a distribution. And ultimately what you can do is you can do a combination of these three or four things. Additionally, of course, any money that you have spent on behalf of the company that's not been recorded through the company books, whether it is you have bought routine items for the company or made payments for it in some way, shape or form, those can be used to reduce the extent of the overdrawn position. Questions, queries, concerns, give us a shout. We know insolvency inside out.